went from 5,000 to 100,000 followers in just 4 weeks. Created for a human rather than for an algorithm. Joined one college over here and I went there for a day and I dropped out. Not even telling my parents.
Welcome to the Tenzin Show, Sahas. I am so enthralled to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really very excited for this one.
Yes, I've been eagerly looking forward to it because I know we've been wanting to do this for a long time, but we've had some barriers along the way. But I'm glad that we're here today. And there are so many questions I have because there's so much interesting stuff that you've done. But I'm going to be very, I want to be very selective about the questions that I want to ask you because, you know, with the interest of time, of course. You've positioned your own status quo as an entrepreneur, public speaker, content creator. You're the founder of Squid media marketing agency. Looking back in hindsight, did you anticipate that this is the path that you want to take for yourself? And how did you weave entrepreneurship and content creation together?
Well, it is very interesting because I never thought that I would be a content creator. As a matter of fact, up till even last year, I thought that having 10,000 followers was crazy. And that was my goal, to have just 10,000 followers. And by the time I think I was already creating content in 1 month, I went from 5,000 to 100,000 followers in just 4 weeks.
Wow.
And I was thinking, then I thought that, maybe I'm just, I'm limitizing my own success by putting a number onto it. So sometimes we say that, it is important to have goals and it's important to give that number, that goal a figure. But maybe it's not always right to give that number because you might be thinking too small and the universe have some bigger picture for you. So that was that. But I've been an entrepreneur from last 12, 15 years. Ever since I graduated from my college and I never sat for placements and I always thought that, I'll start my own business or work with my family business. Family business didn't work out that well because at that time my father had some financial situations. And so I thought that, why not? But he helped me a lot to establish my own business during that time. And that was the time I'm talking when I was in India. And that was, lost kid from out of college, didn't know which direction to go, handed over with this, this business and said that, okay, so this is the way that I'm supposed to do. And very honestly, I was very unhappy for a very, very long time in my life because I didn't know where to go. And that was mostly because I wanted to take risk, but a lot of risk was, subsided because, your family doesn't want you to take too many risks during that time because, there is a little bit of a control. There is a little bit of, I want my child to be safe and secure and, not get handed over to this world, which is a little nefarious at times. But that's what I thought that could help me really understand what the world really has for me. So which is why 4 years ago, I came to Canada with my wife. And when I came to Canada, when I joined one college over here and I went there for a day and I dropped out, not even telling my parents for three months, saying that because they're going to say that, what are you going to do? They're going to feel a little, scared. Oh, what are you going to do with your life then if you're not going to college? But I really believed that whatever success or failure that I'm going to have in my life, I want to be responsible for that. And I don't want to blame my parents or my family for anything in my life. So just to save them from that kind of a responsibility, it was better for me to not tell them anything and just take my own course. So I started working in car sales. I started driving Uber. I loved it. It was freedom for me when I was driving Uber, when I was working in car sales, because I could take my own decisions. And by all this, I'm not saying that my parents had like, they were very strict or anything. They have been the most sweetest parents to me, because, they want your child to be successful. They want to see their child to be safe. So I think that can also be counterintuitive at times. And taking risks is not taken to, it's not, it's very scary thing for a lot of people. But I always wanted to put myself into those scary situations, because there are either going to be two outcomes. It's going to be yes or no with the kind of scary situations that you're going to get into. And there had been some scary situations. One question that always popped up to me whenever I've been into that situation, that am I going to die? Is that kind of a scary situation? And when the answer is no, then okay, the worst thing is that I'm going to get a rejection out of it. So might as well try. So that mindset helped me to open doors and do whatever I'm doing today.
Wow, that's incredible. And you mentioned about not revealing to your parents what you were going through, because you don't want them to, be worried for you. What was that portion of your life like, where, because at least for me as a person, when I'm going through something, nothing stays in my stomach. I have to say it to my parents and I cannot control it. But it's very matured and wise of some people at that age. Sometimes people are way wiser than their own age. I've seen a lot of people. How did you deal with that situation? And what kind of kept you going? How did you know that, okay, despite everything that's happening right now, I'm going to be making my dreams into reality?
See, I think at certain point of your age, you realize that, and the kind of experience you have had, you realize that, okay, this is one opportunity that you don't want to miss. And I was, maybe during that time, I was at that time of my life where I was like, I felt freedom of taking my own decisions in the way that I wanted to. But also, I never believed that I should be working towards some kind of an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It was that kind of a mindset when I started. I am not there to prove anyone that, this is how it needs to be done, or, what, this is my definition of success, which you wanted me to have, or the world or the society wanted me to have. I just wanted to be comfortable enough. I just wanted to be, create a safe space for me and my family, and just have my own definition of happiness. So, which also comes from certain things in your life that you do, the place that you live in, the kind of people that you are surrounded with, and the kind of work that you do. It should make you happy. That's what I started focusing on, because now the control was in my hands and I could do whatever I wanted to do with my own life. And it's journey, right? Like, it's not like I know exactly where I need to go. I don't. Even today, if somebody will ask me what is your 5 years goal from now, I probably would be doing the same thing. It's just that I believe in discipline. I believe in consistency. I believe in that, if some things doing for a longer period of time can change the whole game, and you will not even notice. So I don't want to limit my own success with the limited goals that I might have in my life. So that's what I always thought about. And so which is why initially when I was in India and when I was doing whatever I was doing, the reason why I say when I was lost, because that wasn't really me, what I was doing. It was just given to me, and I thought that this is how life is supposed to be. And that way I was miserable. At times I was even very depressed. I had depression. I was unhappy, and nothing seemed to be working. And I sometimes tell my wife that, why did you even marry this guy who had no direction where he wanted to go? And but it was her also at the same time, who believed in me more than I did during that time. And she helped me a lot in understanding who I am as a person, not by imposing or not by telling me. I think patience And, when you have a partner who understands you without even verbalizing what she wants to say or he wants to say, that's a sign of a good relationship. And I got that. And I'm so grateful to my wife about that, neither I tried to change her anytime, nor she tried to change me. I was, at one point of time, I used to drink alcohol, and I was like, and from the last almost 2 years now, I've stopped having completely. And I think that has also changed my life a lot. Now, my focus, my direction, my goal, everything is just so streamlined. It's like I can see where I need to go, but it's not like there's no light or anything that I'm looking at, but it's just that the tunnel is good. The tunnel itself is good to the direction that I'm going. So I think these things happen automatically. It's just that you need to be surrounded by good people, good company, and that's it.
Indeed, I completely agree with that. And in fact, there's nothing, I would say, the stigma around not figuring out by a certain age.
Yeah.
We hear that quite often, don't we? Sometimes people find their purpose and what they really want to pursue at 50, and that's okay too. But I'm glad, you had such a wonderful support system, because that truly makes that difference. It truly does. Today we live in the peak of digital extravaganza. Everybody is a content creator. Now we say that, right? Content creators, the numbers have risen, and there's also content consumption. And according to a research by HubSpot, it was found that 91% of marketers are using social media as a platform to leverage so that they can market their products, right? Their services. And 21% of these marketers in the same year, in 2023, they want to keep that investment going. And especially when we speak of the investment with content, we're talking about short form content because it seems to be in vogue. So do you think that perhaps considering popular podcasts, they're using both long form and short form content? It's like a melange of both. Would you say that there's still a future for long form content, or is it just short form, or is it a mix?
It's always going to be a mix. I don't feel that there is I don't completely believe in that theory that we have a attention span of a goldfish memory kind of a thing, because it totally depends on the kind of story that you're telling. If your story is interesting enough that you can grab my attention for 1.5 hours, I will watch that Netflix movie. If your story is worth 1 minute and 30 seconds, you're going to watch short form, that video. So it totally depends on how you're telling a story and what kind of a long form content it is. So for example, if you're talking about podcasting is still very, very new. Even if we think that there are 10 million podcasts all around the globe, it is still very little in comparison to how many blogs are there on the website, on the internet. So if you talk about long form, let's compare blog and a podcast. They're all long form. Still, there is a capacity of having more podcasts. But again, which is going to stand out is the one which is grabbing somebody's attention. So short form definitely helps person to know what, quickly that nuggets that person is going to get from the longer form. And then they can, if that is appealing enough, the person goes and watches the whole podcast. And that happens with my own behavior. Like I know that if I'll watch something which is very intriguing and fascinating, I have few things on my watch list right now that I know that I need to go and watch the whole podcast just because I've watched the short clip. So I wouldn't say that, it's completely going to be obsolete. I think it's too early in that case, but I think it totally depends. Only few are going to stay, which are very interesting, which are fascinating. And like Joe Rogan, if you have consumed any of his podcasts, he creates a podcast of 3 hours, 2 hours. And every conversation that he's having with the guest is super interesting and you don't want to miss a beat. The one that I love the most about his is with Naval Ravikant.
Oh my God. It's amazing. Yes. And the way and the style of the conversation is commendable.
Yeah, it totally depends on the guests then. Also, like how you're answering to those questions and how you're able to provide that value to the person who's watching it. So I think that intention also really matters when somebody who's creating content, that who are you creating it for? What kind of an audience? How would they feel while they're watching your content? So how that expression or emotion is going to be? What is the transformation you are expecting out of your audience? And when I'm also creating my own content, I try to answer these questions on my own, that, okay, what should I expect them to have from this piece of content? Would that be a half for them? Oh my God, I learned something new today. Will they ever say that? Will they even go and share it with their friends and family and say that, oh, this is what I learned? So always thinking through that direction, I think that helps you to become a good content creator.
Okay. I think that is a very valuable point. Having the sense of direction is important, because otherwise it'd be like a free moving electron, right? It'll be in all directions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Speaking of content creation, now, you're the founder of Squid Media Marketing Agency, right? Please enlighten us a little bit about that. And what is the story? And most importantly, I wanted to ask you, because I'm just intrigued to know, why Squid? Why this name?
It's funny, actually. It's there is no reason behind it. It's just that my wife and I think we just we just finished watching Squid Games.
Okay.
And we were also looking for a brand name for the company. And the original brand name that I have for the company was a little boring. So wanted to make a change and make it look more interesting and, attention grabbing. Squid came into the picture and we said, yeah, why not? Squid Media, let's do it. So that's the inception of how it came into existence. And, but yeah, I've been into this business from the moment when I came to Canada. As a matter of fact, being a business mindset, I think that's given to you when it goes in when it is already in your bloodstreams. You will always think from a business perspective. When I came here and when I said that I joined the college and I dropped after one day, that was only because I know that 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, I might have to start my own business, which I'm going to do. So might as well just drop out right now and start my business right away. So with 6 months in, and I registered my company, and I didn't even know what I'm going to do in that company. So I just registered a company and said that, let me start working out with get a little more exposure, confidence. It's not a new city. It's a new freaking country. I need to understand, how people work, how people behave, and get a little bit of a confidence of that sort. So I started working in car sales, started working in chocolate store. So that helped me to learn a lot about the culture. And that also gave me the confidence of, okay, so what I know can really benefit to a certain amount of people. So, which is when I started doing digital marketing for my dealership that I was working with, the car dealership. At the same time, I was a part of some masterminds, which is a different story altogether. I became a part of those masterminds and I started doing a lot of content, digital marketing for the clients in that mastermind. That helped me grow very fast. And during COVID, I think that was the time when I completely switched over into doing a lot of workshops, webinars. And then I realized, okay, this is something that I can do full time. And slowly and gradually, I realized that, okay, this is my full-time gig. And within 1 year of moving to Canada, I started my business full-fledged.
Wow. I think we share perhaps a very similar story, because after I moved to Canada as well, within about 8 months, I established my academy, like the Le Prestige Academy. It must have been scary, but sometimes when you're so headstrong, you want to do it. Even for me, I just did not waste my time, because I knew that this is the reason why I came here. I wanted to do this. So I think I really resonate with that, with that zeal, that you mentioned that, even though you mentioned the first day of college, and that's okay because you have that realization from within you, because your intuition, it acts as the, inbuilt GPS. It helps you navigate your direction. And every experience, whether it is, whatever jobs that you worked, you understand consumer behavior. You understand the culture, as you mentioned, and that really, a lot of people don't understand. These nuances really help when you're building your own brand, your own company, your own identity. Okay, well, now I know why it's called Squid Media. Very interesting story. Now, what happens is that oftentimes when we're chasing virality, we may trade our uniqueness and authenticity. Do you think that picking up a trending template that is algorithm friendly can squander our creativity and authenticity? At least for me, because I'm a content creator myself, along with being an entrepreneur, I feel that, and also as an empath, as a sensitive person, the more I put myself out there, after a while, I'm like, no, I need to take some time off. Like I'll go off for a week and then again, I'll come back to restore all my lost energy. So have you ever felt that creative exhaustion? Or do you feel like, no, whatever. I mean, I'm just going to be doing it.
Yeah, I think it's the latter for me. I never felt that way because I don't know, maybe I enjoy what I do very much. Okay. So in a way that, sometimes if I am not able to create content in a day or two, I start missing it.
Okay.
And, I'll sit in the middle of the night and I'll start writing something, which content that I need to do. So like for me, it's a kind, when your work becomes your meditation and it becomes your, the most passionate thing that you want to do, even though when you know that it's not going to convert into money or monetary anything, it becomes play for you. Professionally, it will automatically, once if your work becomes your play, it is the best combination that you can have in your life. So this is that for me. So when I create content, I never think that, I'm doing it, oh, I'm exhausted and I don't want to do it from there. So I've never felt that way, even though I've created content like 2 videos a day, which is 60 videos in a month. When I started with that kind of a consistency. I was literally scripting, researching, writing, whatever, creating videos. And that too, like if I'm saying that 60 videos had to go in a month, which means I should be 2, 3, 4 days in advance. So maybe at 70 videos, I was researching and I was creating.
Wow. That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is where you understand, okay, so what is your burnout point? And I was always towards my edge during that time. I was always towards my edge. So I think realizing what's your burnout point, and it doesn't become like a hard thing to do, rather than it should be interesting and intriguing thing for you to do. So you try to engage yourself into that activity the way that it becomes your play, but it also has to have a consistency and discipline into it. So for me, I realized that, okay, it's 1 piece a day that I could do consistently and I can focus it to other things. And for some, it could be 15 videos in a month. For some people, it could be, 10 videos. So just choose that particular level of burnout point for you and go from there and see which one makes sense for you. I've never thought of chasing, I never thought that I will get viral. I never, like even the last video that I posted, it not last, like a couple of days ago, it went 12.8 million views.
Wow. That's massive. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is new. And I might have had many videos which are above 10 million. And, but it's always, but I'm like, okay, this is good. Now what's next? You're as good as your next video. You're as good as your, whatever happened, that's in the past. Now, what can I do next? Because it's gone. The success, that immediate adrenaline that you got, dopamine that you got for a moment, these many views that you've got. Now what? you have to move to the next one. You cannot just sit and talk about it, that it's there. So which is why I find it very odd that I never, for some reason, I never thought that, I need to go viral. I just wanted to find interesting topics which I can share with the people, and they should go, wow. So you cannot, if you start thinking from the algorithmic point of view, what is an algorithm? Algorithm is made up of audience's interests. What people are watching, what people are engaging with, what people are liking, disliking. So create it for a human rather than for an algorithm. And that's what intrigued me in whatever content that I'm creating. So which is why I don't have any particular niche in the content that I'm creating. I'm just creating anything that I connect with. And I think a person who is sitting right on the other side of the screen and watching it, he or she also could connect with that. May that be my life experience that I'm sharing, how I feel about certain things. May that be about a fact that I got to know about and I was like, oh, this is crazy. This needs to be shared. And I created a content and that person also shared it with his friends. Or it's about the movies. It's about anything. So my content has such a variety. This is what I feel, that you cannot put me into one category and say, oh, this is just about marketing. I can talk. I want to give that kind of knowledge and facts and to people, which makes them smarter all around, not just in one particular category. So when they have conversations, when they go on a networking events, let's say, imagine this, that a person who's consuming a content and he or she goes to a networking event and say, hey, did you know that 90% of Canada was owned by Queen Elizabeth? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. It's a conversation starter. So when you bring these kind of conversations, and I think, and I've got so much of responses from my audiences as well. Somebody reached out to me and that guy was it was a little emotional because that person says that you helped me to gain my confidence because nobody used to take me seriously. Even my family, my friends. And the moment when I started sharing these things, which I consumed from your content and few others, it just made me feel confident and people started taking me seriously. And that change, that transformation is what I want to help people achieve in their lives with any form of content that I'm creating.
Wow. That's, I think, it's an emotionally satiating work that you do because, no amount of, whatever you mentioned in terms of going viral, and you don't dwell in success. But these responses that you receive, they are the actual achievements. They're the real accomplishments, right? Because at the end of the day, that's how you cement that connection with your audience. As you were talking about, how your audiences have benefited from this. And I think it's so pivotal in the times that we live in today, because when we look up on Instagram, mostly it's relatable and funny content, which is okay. I believe that's okay, but I think it's too much of it now, in my opinion. It's too much of it now to an extent where I see that if there is an intelligent conversation happening, a smart conversation happening, that would get about, a few hundred views versus someone doing something incredibly stupid, in my opinion, sometimes gets like, I don't know, a plethora of views. So how is that fair? So it's
not about fair. I feel that that's the signal that you're getting, that what people are consuming the most. So that's always going to be the case. People love to get entertained more than educated.
True.
So we cannot, so think about it in this way. A person coming from a hard day job and, she's very stressed and she wants a little time off and she's just watching content. She wants to laugh. She wants to, not use the brains to learn something during that time. She just wants to have fun. She wants to watch this comedian and Matt riff and, get a little bit of a laughter. Oh, watch another cringe video, which is dancing video, which is like, doesn't have to have anything to do with anything. just trending music. So I think it totally tells you that, what people are mostly engaging with. So this is how the trend is. And if you see that, there are more dance videos and entertaining videos, because that's the majority of people are looking for.
Yeah.
Maybe your feed might be entirely different because you are consuming more of an educational content. So your Explorer feed will have more of educational or newsworthy or somebody who's sharing any facts. But in majority of the time, it's going to be people who are, just want entertainment.
Well, so I think we have to do edutainment now, like education combined with entertainment. But
Absolutely.
So I would say if it's like 50-50, like 50% education, 50% entertainment, that if that is the consumption of people, but it's not that way. It's about, I would say 70 to 80% of people prefer the kind of videos that we talked about, right? And the rest of others, I would say that segment would involve certain amount of people. But having said that, I want to talk a little bit about community building, because I see that most successful content creators are people who've mastered the art of community building. And even you have a community, your own community, with the kind of presence that you have in social media. How important do you think community building is, and how can we use community building as a leverage to enhance our brand image and connect better with our audience? And how can we do it? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
I think just by educating, like first you have to think about, like, to start building a community or an audience, everything starts with a value. What do you have to give to others so that they start becoming your followers or your fans and want to connect with you? That always happens when you are the first one who gives the value to someone. So think of what is the value that you can provide, and it has to be a least resistant value. Like, a person who can get the value without spending money, without spending much time, and what that could be. And it should be worth the value, even worth more the value. So usually what we think is that, we are just going to talk about few things and not lay all our cards out there just because it's we want to keep something for the paid members. I don't think so that should be the case. Possibility. You can share all your strategies. Nobody's going to pick every strategy of yours. Some people might, who are smarter, they might, but 99% of people are not going to follow up on any strategies that you have even spoken about. So might as well share them. That shows your expertise into the field. So never hide away from sharing any strategies, because we think, what is too much? Should I share this? Should I share that? Or should I just confine into this kind of knowledge, and to get more information, click the link in the bio and join my paid course or something like that. Whatever you have had in your paid course, you can even speak it on your free video that you have created. Trust me, 99% of them are still not going to follow up onto whatever you are talking on. But that establishes your credibility. That, what you're talking about has a lot of value. And if there is any product or any service involved at the background, it will stand for that value that you have provided for free. Automatically, that mindset goes towards that. People who are following me, or I'm not stopping myself from giving them anything for free. I'm just giving them whatever I feel that, everybody is, everybody should have an equal chance of getting the value. So I'm not saying that, working with me personally might be a different experience altogether. That I cannot share completely on the public, because that's not humanly possible. That's only possible if somebody comes and starts working with me individually in my agency, with my team, and we do all of these things together. That's a different story. But whatever that I can help in the free community basis, that's how you build raving fans. That's how, oh wow, this guy is actually sharing what most of the people don't even want to talk about. So don't stop yourself from oversharing. There's no such thing as oversharing.
Okay. And So the thing is, a lot of times what happens is, for example, if you look at a profile like yourself, you're an entrepreneur, content creator, an expert, a public speaker. You are multi-passionate. Now we've heard this. I'm sure you've heard this ad nauseum, but they say if you have too many things on your profile, then people can get confused and they're unable to comprehend your sense of identity, your brand image. How are you able to sort of bring all of these profiles together and create Sahas Chopra is what I'm trying to ask. Because even for a lot of people like you, right, like yourself, they might be multi-passionate. Maybe the person is a singer along with being an entrepreneur and content creator. So how do they create that brand image?
It develops over the period of time. There are different levels. So I wouldn't say that when I started creating my content, I created my profile and I had written all these things. Slowly, as you go different levels in your life and experiences, these accolades, these credibility start, adding up on their own. So it's not something that I would right away, if I were having like 1,000 followers or 50 or 5,000 followers or something like that, I would just say one thing only. You are right, absolutely, about that. I will just say that, I help experts build their personal brands, or I help people humanize their brands. I would just say that. And then think about how can I get it to reach to broader audience rather than just to niche. My business offer is selective, but my content needs to be broad. So that a person who's not even having a brand should care about why he or she should build a brand. So business offer and content creation are two different things. Your business offer could be specific, but your content could be broader. The more broader means more awareness, the more content that you can create around it. And you need to be smart enough to see that what kind of content that you can create in that spectrum, which is not too niche, but also talking to somebody who is not an expert, somebody who is not into that realm, but understands your viewpoint and says, this guy is nice. Let me just follow him and see what else that he or she has. Oh, wow. He has an agency. Oh, he does this professionally. Let me click on it and see what our services are there. So that's how you build trust. You don't build trust by saying, hey, I'm an agency owner and these are the 3 things that you need to do in order to get successful on social media.
Okay. Because the profiling conundrum is real. I've seen a lot of people go through that problem, and myself as well, because, and most of them, they say, okay, so if you're a singer, you first focus only on singing and you accomplish a certain level. And then once you establish your image as that, then move on to the next thing. So take one brand identity at a time. And once you gain that momentum, and then bring all of that together. So I think everybody has a different, take on this. And what you mentioned is also true. I would say that as you go along, you can sort of simplify the complicated notion of your profile, right?
Yeah. And one more thing, I would say that, it's easy to bullshit on social media.
Okay.
Because anybody could say that I'm a speaker, I'm this, I'm that. What is the proof? So that's why build that proof by slowly and gradually building your brand, by slowly and gradually building your profile, by slowly and gradually getting more views on your videos. Forget about the followers, but more video views that you get first, that is a signal that, your videos are, there's one content creator that I recently came across, and that he just has 10,000 followers, but the kind of views that he's getting is in millions. So what is more important for the viewer or the brand that you want to work with? Views or followers? Brands will come looking at, okay, if I connect with this, if I collaborate with this content creator, how many views, how much of audience is going to watch it? And if it is going to be in millions, who really cares about the followers then? That's why they say followers is a vanity metric. Views is something which counts.
Okay. Okay, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah. I want to ask you a little bit about these topics that you usually talk about as an expert, right? You speak on topics such as entrepreneurship, mindset and education, immigration, content creation. If you were to give us one piece of advice for each of these topics, what would it be?
Pick any one. Which one do you want?
Okay, I'll make it easier for you. So let's say entrepreneurship.
It's challenging only if you think you're here in for a short term. If you're looking for a quick, or entrepreneurship looks very fancy from the outside, but if you don't have the muscle to do it for a longer period of time, and that means longer period means 10 to 15, 20 years, then it might not be for you. So you have to have that kind of patience to do it. So only those people who have the patience of doing, like, if you were to do it, you should think about it that you are going to do it for the rest of your life. And the success is not going to happen right away. And it's always going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. It's never going to be just up. It's going to be up, down, very up, then very down could be possible. But that's what makes your life interesting. When you are an entrepreneur, you'll have one hell of a story to write. That's what I feel.
Yes. And entrepreneurship may not be for everyone, because now we see everywhere on the internet, there's this huge culture of entrepreneurship, which is a good thing. But a lot of people are taking up entrepreneurship or are aspiring to be entrepreneurs because it's cool to be an entrepreneur.
They delve into the idea of freedom, or, having a financial freedom kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it comes with a package which can burn you out. If you are ready to do that, then definitely it is for you. If not, then you'll think, oh, this is the worst decision I've taken in my life. I've missed my job.
Yeah. Yeah. For some people, they're so peaceful and happy with the jobs that they have.
Yeah.
So, because if everybody is an entrepreneur, who's going to work for you? We need somebody to work for you, isn't it?
True.
So everybody, I think they have their own idea of what they want from life. Some are happy with jobs, some are happy with entrepreneurship. And as you mentioned, if you've got the muscle to be an entrepreneur, so be it. Final question, and the most evaded question of this conversation, is the theme of this show, which is about success. Now, we've heard a lot about success, but it is interesting to understand from people who have carved their own way of success in their own unique ways, and understand what success could mean to them. So I am very intrigued to learn from you what your equation of success is.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, because as you said, that everybody might have a different opinion about success. And the opposite of success is not failure. It is quitting. Let's start from there. A lot of people think that, oh, if you're not successful, that means you are a failure. Behind every unsuccess is maybe you stopped doing that. If you have quit your journey, that is the biggest mistake that you could do in order to not be successful in certain things. And to be successful, it could be different things that you could be successful in. It totally depends on person to person. Like, for example, I usually say that the most easiest questions have the most difficult answer. If you ask me what is success, or if you ask me what is happiness, or you ask me what is life, my answer would be very different than yours or somebody else's, because these questions are very difficult to answer, and it totally depends on one person's experience and how I define as success. So if I had to define success, it could be in terms of relationship. It could be in terms of the kind of impact that you want to make in your life. Material success is fine, but it is not going to help provide any value to someone, but it can support the causes for what you stand for. So anything that helps me transform somebody else's life I think that is success for me.
Okay. So would you say that, as you mentioned, relationships, if you have loving, nourishing, healing relationships, supportive relationships, and you're able to transform other people's lives and touch their lives, that's your idea of success?
100%.
Yeah. So in every aspect of our life, whether, let's say, we have different departments, so to speak, we may have, let's say, personal well-being, or professional success, spirituality. Just wanted to ask you, as you know, because I'm very interested in this. Are you a spiritual person, and has that helped you to sort of face the challenges on the way and be where you are today? Would you say spirituality is a part of that process?
100%.
Okay.
Spirituality has been a very integral part of my life. And that has helped me.
Yeah, because I hear that a lot from people. And how ironic is this? Even scientists that we've had on the show, they say that, usually we would think that, spirituality and religion, we tend to do that, don't we? But there are two different things, and they can be one, but a lot of times we tend to boil spirituality down to a religion, right? But that's not true. Even scientists that we've had on the show, they've said that spirituality has truly helped them on the way. And I really want to go back to the point before we end our conversation here today, that 5 years down the line, if I ask you, do you have a plan? You said, I don't. I probably will do the same thing. That's true, because we have all these plans, but there are many things that happen unplanned in our life. Yeah.
And you just have to be open to those unplanned situations, because you will be surprised what universe has laid out for you.
Okay.
So I want to leave certain things for as an open-ended surprise. Shock me. Surprise me. Doesn't have to be a good one, could be anything. You never know. It will happen. You cannot do it during that time. But yeah, if you get yourself open to that idea that anything is possible, good or bad, you will always have this you will maintain this kind of an energy. It will never be up and down. And this is where the spirituality comes into the power. This is where, because the power of meditation comes into the play.
Yeah.
So these things help you to, level that anything good or bad is okay. It's not going to change too much in your life. So if I'm getting good responses on my comments, I'm also getting bad responses. So should I elevate my mood right away when there are some people reaching out to me, Sahas, you're such a gem and whatever, and there's a bad comment, and then my energy goes down? If I start playing through that role, then I will never be consistent and calm. I will always look for dopamine. Where do I get the next one?
Touché. Thank you so much, Sahas, for being on the show. This conversation was so enriching. It was so delightful speaking with you. And just so many things that I got to learn from you, and also come vis-a-vis with a part of Sahas that probably I could have never known if I've just watched your content and not had this conversation. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, your take on so many different things. I'm certain that this particular episode will be loved by a lot of people, and they're going to be inspired with what you've shared in this episode.
So kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sahas.